So in this video, I want to talk to you about what is strategy. And to me, the definition of strategy might be a little different than other people. But to me, as a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, I view strategy as a process through which different stakeholders come together to decide to mobilize some sort of resources to accomplish a goal. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So there's a building behind me right there. So at one point, somebody would have had to have decided to build that building. Now, there would have been a single person that would have said, hey, we should build this building right here. It's a beautiful building. But they had to decide where it actually was going to be. And so there's this decision process of thinking about, okay, we're going to build this building right here. Then they had to decide what it would actually look like. So then they would have got other people to come together to imagine what this building would look like. So they're bringing in these various different stakeholders to imagine what this actually looks like. Then they thought, well, you know what? We have to decide to actually accomplish this thing within the city that we are a part of. So then we have to talk to various different stakeholders in the government to convince them to actually build this thing within the city. I live in Tallahassee, within the city that we actually live in. And so there's all these different processes that we have to come together to imagine what this world would look like. Not only imagine what this world would look like, that's where sort of the more sort of entrepreneurship and innovation stuff comes in, but also to decide that they're actually going to pursue this particular thing. So along the entire process, you have to imagine what the goal is, what you're trying to accomplish, and then mobilize these resources that we know we can accomplish things, right? So that's one of the most amazing things that that we know as human beings, is that we can mobilize resources to accomplish enormous feats. We just have to decide how to do that and convince many people to actually get together and to assemble to actually mobilize the resources that they have available to actually build this thing, right? So they have to they have to get suppliers to actually build the cladding for this building. They have to figure out where the steel comes from to actually put in the building, in the steel girders, all these kind of things. It's all the stuff that we would be interested in and sort of figuring out how to accomplish the goals that you would like to do. Now, you might think that, this is sort of a one-time deal in terms of building a building, but we have to create systems and we have to create organizations in such that it's not a one-time deal, because it's really, really inefficient to sort of build one building and then sort of disassemble absolutely everybody. But you want to ensure that people build capabilities and build the expertise that they have so they can keep coming back and build more amazing buildings and decide how to do that. So then we look at how maybe the division of labor would look like within organization. We would also look at things of at what point do we decide to actually organize or create an organization versus just going to the free market. For many of us, it's really easy and a lot more simple just to go to the free market and say, buy me a building. Now, it makes sense if I said, buy me a pineapple. I just go to the grocery store and I buy a pineapple. It doesn't quite make as much sense if I say, buy me a skyscraper. And so we have to figure out at what point do we decide to actually create an organization to accomplish this thing. Now, there's also a lot of sort of legal stuff that we have to figure out in terms of, who has rights and at what point do we decide to sue somebody in case that there is a problem with the building. And so we might sort of think about the sort of contractual nature of building these things. So there's all these kind of things where we are getting various different stakeholders, they're just people and organizations, to come together to organize different resources that they possess to actually accomplish some sort of goal, something that they would like to do. And so this goal, we have to imagine what it is and we have to decide on what it is. We might be interested in that as well. So you can see it's a pretty complicated process, but there is a rationale in terms of how we understand what strategy is and what we're trying to do. And then after some point, not only do we want many people building or certain people that have expertise or in organizations that are building buildings, but then we might sort of decide, okay, we want to ensure that we have, you know, a viable business that can not only build buildings, but we might decide that we want to build not only buildings, but we want grocery stores and we want to sell groceries, and we sort of decide on how do companies and sort of leaders of these companies come together to decide to say, okay, I'm going to build buildings and sell groceries. I know it seems unusual, but you know, there's businesses that do that in this world, and we have to sort of figure out why they actually do that and at what point they might do that. So, you know, strategy is a very interesting sort of perspective, and there's lots to decide and that's where we have to sort of bring in all sorts of things, and that's why a lot of people get confused in where we sort of stand. You know, we have to bring in sort of psychology, we have to bring in sociology and economics to come together to figure out how people get together to accomplish a goal that they would love to accomplish, but not only that, imagine what that goal would be. So it's pretty cool. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day.